Hi friends, Victor Costa, how you doing? Peace, love, and muscles. How's the video look? Is it too bright? I've got a light on me. It's nighttime here, I'm in New York. Happy St. Paddy's Day. Everybody's Irish on St. Paddy's Day. Dose peoples so far. Nice to see you. 4. I'll wait a couple of minutes or so for some more people to join us. I don't know what you guys are doing on a Friday night at 11 o'clock. Rick, how you doing? But I don't have much to do. Trained today, worked today, put up a couple of new videos. Happy St. Paddy's Day. Junior, happy St. Paddy's Day. What's up? Hey Glenn, how you doing? Nice to see you. Put up a couple new videos today. You guys were asking for old bodybuilding footage of me. You know, instead of just being a preacher, I actually have a history. It's been a long time since I've competed. I can tell you a little bit about my bodybuilding history and a little bit about my bodybuilding career. Timmy, what's up? But I guess you could call my experience the biggest boom bust in bodybuilding history. You'll see the footage of my video of a competition, and a lot of folks were expecting me to be the next something special. And it was interesting, you know, if you spend a lot of time in bodybuilding at a certain level, you don't progress. I guess the judges recognize that you've been at a certain level for a while, and it looks as though you're going to kind of get stuck there. And you know, with me, I didn't really like the what I had to do to get to the next level. But I will tell you that I had to make a lot of sacrifices because I did everything I did it naturally. I saw the landscape of things. I was a little too tall for the middleweights, and I knew that I was going to have to get a lot bigger. In the video footage that you see, I weigh about 165, 170 pounds. And I'm going to be putting up some more footage. I hope you like it. I hope you like the posing routine. Posing routine was always inspired by Bob Paris. I don't know who wasn't inspired by Bob Paris. I actually reached out to Bob. We exchanged messages on Facebook. I sent him a couple of messages. Then I sent him an email because I would like to talk with him and I would like to interview him. He wrote a book called Gorilla Suit. Bob is a really artistic guy, a very creative guy, and I would like to do some videos speaking with him, and even if we can't meet in person, I'd like to just interview him and then post that. I'm going to be doing a new channel where I'm going to be interviewing bodybuilders. I'm going to be talking about my experience with some of the bodybuilders I know. Yep, Bob Paris is aesthetic, AF. So I've got some more footage that I'm going to put up. I actually did my posing routine so that you can probably hear that Ferris Bueller song, Oh Yeah. And then I did another one to Is This Love by Whitesnake. Yep, I'm dating myself a little bit. But what was interesting about that experience was I enjoyed it. I was really isolated leading up to it because I trained for a very long time for these things. As you can see, there's some friends of mine who were in the audience. Shout out to my brother. Shout out to, I'm sure it's Al Farad in there, Jason Garby screaming and hooting and hollering for me. But one of the most amazing things that came out of this bodybuilding experience was that the people that I got to meet as a result. I made my way to New York because when I came off the stage, a couple of guys said they were opening up a gym in New York. It became a very famous gym. You guys probably have heard of David Barton Gym. We had a wonderful clientele, and I really learned a lot there also from the clients. The more you train people, the better you get at it, and the more you experiment, then you get to really know about people because you get to spend so much time with them because you have a lot of time to fill in between the sets. So you get to know about people, and you really get to know about what they want, and you become a better trainer just by virtue of doing it more and more and more. But I do want to say that a lot of folks who experience the high of bodybuilding or the high of any athletic endeavor, after you sort of stop, you kind of you kind of crash a little bit in terms of, there's nothing to prepare for if you stop competing. The fans kind of go away. The people don't recognize you anymore. And it's a thing that you shoot for glory, but when it's not there anymore, when the glory isn't there anymore, there becomes this withdrawal and depression. And I know that a lot of guys feel that way about bodybuilding. There are some people who really feel sour about it after they reach that peak. So to me, the best way to do it is just to avoid that withdrawal, is just keep going. Just keep doing it. Keep having fun with it. So if you're competing, I encourage you to do it because you never know what's going to come out of it. You get to learn, even though it's an individual sport, you do learn sportsmanship and you get to root for other people because everybody comes from a different place with this. Some guys are really genetically gifted. Some guys work really, really hard. Some people have disabilities and they're out there showing what they've got. And so everybody comes from a different place. So there's really no losers because there's only one of you. People also tell me that, aren't you afraid of like the rejection? Like you go up there, you don't know how you're going to perform. And just like in anything else, aren't you afraid of rejection? And I'm like, you're never really rejected, There's only one of you. Somebody might not be looking for that right now, but there's only one of you. So I never really look at anything as kind of getting rejected. There are some shows that I placed lower that I should have placed higher. And I think it was because I was kind of, I wasn't progressing in terms of my physique. I believe, guys, that was the best I was going to get at the time, knowing what I knew, without any drugs. If I was going to fill in the blank, so to speak, and you can see in here, and I still have it, to really get further, I was going to have to do that, and I didn't want to. It wasn't my path. But nevertheless, I still love everything about this sport. I love bodybuilding like you wouldn't believe, but there is this kind of crash afterwards. And I talked to people who weren't even competing. They were just in shape at one point, and they say, I remember when I used to be in shape. Don't stop. Just keep going. Enjoy the gym. Show up there, even if you're not doing what you used to do. Get into the rhythm. Get into the environment. Stay around people who are active and healthy. Don't sit in a bar somewhere. Although you can do that once in a while, and that's leading to the next topic. The next topic is drinking alcohol. Now, guys, I don't drink alcohol. I'm Italian. Alcohol kind of goes with the territory a little bit, a little vino, a little grappa, things like that. I don't drink at all. But I don't do it because I try to stay in shape all the time. The shape that I was in the competitions are the same shape that I remain in today. And that's for me. But I will tell you that there are studies done on people who drink socially. And they're actually much, much happier than people who don't drink at all. And the rationale for that is because drinking is a social endeavor. So I do encourage people to have a glass of wine, go out with your friends, have a beer, relax, communicate with people, enjoy their company and time, but just don't go crazy. Okay, so that's another thing. So every now and again, it's cool to have a couple of drinks. Just because I don't drink, it's because I try to remain in a certain element of condition all the time. Plus I had my daughter who was coming home with homework. I was helping her for years, and so I wanted to have, come home from work. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be the dad. I wanted to be a sober dad, and I wanted to be there for my kid, and then I'll go to the gym and do my workout. So there really wasn't any room for that. But I do think that obviously drinking socially is probably better than not drinking at all, because when you're not drinking alone. So if you don't drink, still go out. You could still go out with friends. You could still have a soda or a seltzer or something like that. But try to have some relationships. Try to have some camaraderie because it's very, very good for your health. Again, people who drink socially actually live longer and are in better health than people who don't drink, because people who don't drink alone. Okay, what else? How have I been training these days? I've been really doing 2 warm-up sets and 3 working sets. That's really been working for me, because I found myself doing sometimes 5 sets of an exercise and progressing. I was doing, for side laterals, 20s, 25s, 30s, 35s, 40s, going that route. I stopped doing that. 2 sets of 20s, and then I get into the heavier weights. I've been much, much more productive that way. So have a warm-up set, not a worn-out set. Okay, so that's another little bit of advice. I never did 10 reps, really. I figured if I did 11, I was doing 10% more than the last guy. And that was my thinking, and that was my theory. So I've never been a 10 rep guy, really. I've been 11 plus, 11 to 14. That's my rep range. If you think about it, I'm doing 40, if I'm doing 14, I'm doing 40 more % of the work than the other guy. Now, is that necessarily the best thing in the world? Well, the more things you do, the better you get at it. If I was just swinging a bat at the batting cage, if I did it 40% more than my competitor, I'd probably make the team. So that was always my rationale also. And that becomes cumulative. If you've been doing 10 repetitions and I've been doing 14 and I've been doing them for 10 years, there should be some cumulative effect of that 40% more work at some point, provided I'm not torching my entire body and burning out, right? Okay, what else? Yes, guys, we read Muscle and Fitness, we read Flex, we read Men's Health, and then we don't go to the doctor to get a checkup. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm talking to people who tell me they haven't been to the doctor in 3, 4, 5, 6 years, okay? No good. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Yes, when you're young, you feel invincible. You don't feel like anything can happen to you. You gotta go. You gotta get a checkup, okay? Healthcare is reasonable for a lot of us here in this country. We're very, very fortunate, and you've got to go do it. You've got to get your checkups because I know guys just haven't been in years. And also, there's guys who are on steroids who don't want to go to the doctor because they're embarrassed, ashamed, they're afraid he's going to tell them to stop. You guys have to go, you got to get your butts to the doctor, okay? Even if you're doing that, obviously the doctor, it's obvious for a lot of physicians what's going on. You should get yourself checked out. There's no reason to say, wait a minute, I'm going to use this part of my life to be unhealthy and then I'm going to be healthy later on at some point. There's no such thing as that, okay? I don't condone drugs. I don't think you should be doing them, but if you are, you're not in a class of folks that are different from everybody else. You have to get to the doctor. Don't be embarrassed. Just get your butt there and get a checkup, okay? Anyway, what else? We did the reps. We did the alcohol. We talked about the downside of bodybuilding and athletics, I suppose, in terms of the spirit, how it declines when you're not in the limelight or in the glory of it. I will tell you guys, I was in isolation before those competitions. I mean, I was going to college and stuff like that, and then I would go to my classes, but I was training 2 times a day. I would not go out at night. I had no girlfriend, I think, at all for maybe a couple of years, and then you work to this point, and then all of a sudden, people are leaving love letters on your car and things like that, from the glory of it. And then, people forget all about you when you stop competing. But don't let that decline. If you've been a competitor and you start to, feel a little depressed that you're not in the limelight anymore, that happens to every athlete. I speak to athletes who are professional in a lot of different places, and don't get salty on things. Keep going to the gym. Recognize that everybody has their chance in the sun, and then share your experience with other people. I think that other folks will really enjoy that. Now, it says there's only 23 people here. I'm not even sure that I've spoken to anybody, but I'm going to go have a cup of tea. That's what Victor Costa does at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. So guys, stay well. Peace, love, and muscles. Take care of yourselves. Bye.